Mute us, please. I asked, yeah. I want them to know we're still here while we're warming up. No, but I'm asking, can you see? Because on my other screen, what I see is it says sync you, has a clip here, but it's not full screen. It's not ready. It's not started at the beginning. I'm just saying, man. You said you'd be ready, and also remember I said when that plays, we got to make sure that the desktop audio when we finally do. So right now they can't hear it, but if I turn that up, yeah, keep it off for now. But I want these, yeah, like I want these to be ready to go. No, like this. No, I'll do this. Don't worry about it. And then start at the beginning when it decides to exist. Stop moving. Stop. You're controlling. You're taking over my life. All right, we're gonna mute or pause that. Stop. All right, let's see. And then our final one here. This one, that's what I was saying too. Like, we don't even know what was it supposed to be set at? 27:15. All right, I'm gonna. Come on. It's taking its sweet time. That's all right. So anyway, while we're talking right now, I might as well get the part of the intro out of the way. Dude, what are you doing? We're live. What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, we're
You
live?
might as well be watching porn over there. What the hell are you doing?
I'm watching Facebook videos.
Yeah, no, you're not. Dude, your mic is on and you're watching Facebook videos on the podcast. Stop watching Facebook videos on the podcast.
Are we gonna start or are we gonna? I'm just waiting to start.
You're on camera talking. Can you please turn your mic on?
There you go.
And lose the attitude. All right. So, where did you say 27 what? 17. Stop it. Stop moving shit. Stop. There. Stop. All right. So, I was going to say, let's go back to me now. All right. You this is on. Yeah. Okay. So, welcome back to Thought Bubble Podcast with us. Yeah, it's finally the correct day in which we're going to be doing this podcast. But just for the people that are coming in to expect stuff about Russian Fishing 4, I will be live streaming that after the podcast on my own time. We're going to find those eels. I already found a good spot. And it's not in any guides that you find on Steam or anything like that. Now, yeah, I can't remember what we talked about last week or on Wednesday. I was going to say, oh, here's what we talked about, but I think we were so in the midst of trying to upgrade our system or like what we're doing. And I forgot to still buy the Ethernet cable, so it's a little laggy right now. But yeah, so I want to start today off just, we're here today with, my name is Anthony, and we're here, of course,
with the producer.
Wait for it. You, the producer. That's right. And so, yeah, I found this video. It's kind of weird. I went on YouTube to look up something for Russian fishing and the game. And when you go on YouTube, I don't know. It said, 20 things you didn't know about Friends, the show. And I was like, wow, that's the only sitcom that I ever enjoyed that has a laugh reel that I could enjoy. But Matthew Perry was the reason that I enjoyed it because I always really connected to him as a human being. Even though I didn't know a lot about him as a human being, I thought Chandler Bing was me. And then I was like, where has he been all these years? And I was like, let's look him up. So I found this video that was, I think it's about 3 months old. And it's an interview with him. Turns out he has a top seller book. and it turns out I'm more like him, or he's more like me than I knew. Um, and it was very interesting. But anyway, so I guess we're gonna start off today. You haven't seen the video, right? Yeah. Um,
No.
yeah. So there's some clips I want to play, show you the video, and just like where it hit me at home, and like where my life has gone
Hmm.
from 10 years ago to today. But
Okay.
unless, yeah, do you have,
No, let's get started.
let's get started. All right. So let's get the monitor up, Mr. Producer. We do have a third party, by the way, to introduce audibly. Everyone say hi to our British community manager, Mr. Simon, or Sink, the original. Say hi, Simon.
Hello, Simon.
It works for me. All right. So he's controlling the computer, but like I said, we need that Ethernet cable. I forgot to get it. So there's a little bit of a delay where it's a work in progress. But anyway, yeah. So we clipped. So you're saying this is the first one. Let's go ahead and let me go ahead and get the desk. Oh, you already got the desktop audio. Go ahead and mute your mic. It comes out of the computer. We'd have to.
Biology of your body, which is the second prong of the disease, takes over and says, oh, now we're drinking. I'm going to make you drink as much as you did last time and more. It's progressive, so I'm going to make you drink more than you did last time. And you can't stop. I could not stop unless I was locked away somewhere. And at times, I would call drug dealers and have drugs brought in to the place I was locked up in because I was desperate and begging for drugs because the only way I had to feel better. And I did not, it makes you forget too. It's cunning, baffling, and powerful. So that thing that I read in the book, alcoholism, didn't care about that. And alcoholism did not care that I was on Friends. And alcoholism did not care about any of that shit. Alcoholism wants you alone, it wants you sick, and then it wants to kill you. In the book, I compare it to the Joker.
Oh, yeah.
The Joker just wants to see the whole world burn, and so does alcoholism and addiction. And it took over decades of my life, and I pray to you, if you worry that you're having this problem, or you know somebody that is, raise your hand, find somebody who's smarter than you about this, and talk to them, and be honest about it, because the secrets are what kill us. As soon as
Lies.
it was pulled out of me by somebody the first time I admitted it, but I was taking 55 Vicodin a day.
So
I weighed 128 pounds.
okay, yeah.
I was on Friends getting watched.
So I did notice something interesting because I've seen Friends. I had a girlfriend that was obsessed with Friends, and she got me into it. So I've seen it easily more than 10 times. I mean, she let me borrow the whole series DVD set. But I always, because he was my favorite character, I connected the most to him. I had no idea he was going through alcoholism, all this shit. But me and my girlfriend at the time, watched his weight gain and so he was incredibly skinny. Remember when I said when I was heavily drinking, I just couldn't eat?
Mm-hmm.
And I was so underweight. I was completely just like, I couldn't even move. I had to get help to eat.
Right.
I mean, it was bad. And then I'm listening to him tell this story, and it's like, dude, that's me. Like, to realize it's bigger than just like Mitch Hedberg said, the comedian, alcoholism is the only disease that someone can yell at you for having. And then he says, damn it, Otto, you're an alcoholic. And then he goes, damn it, Otto, you have lupus. One of these don't make sense or something like that. But like, I don't know. Like, and so when I was watching this video, I was like, holy shit, I had no idea that this guy that I idolized, I loved him in the one episode I saw him in Scrubs, obviously Friends. And he even says he was being him on the show. And he said, they even told me to talk like I'm being a real person. And I always thought, I was like, dude, Chandler is literally the only character in this show that I connect with because he feels real. And it turns out he was. And he was very good at hiding the issues he had in real life. But
Well, he's an actor, so.
well,
I mean, if they choose to hide.
well, he even talks about there's a lot. But anyway, and here's the funny thing is, so I sent this video to my mom this morning before probably any of you woke up. I think it was like 4 a.m. Simon might have been awake, but I sent it to my mom and I was like, okay, I know you're having trouble understanding who I've become after not drinking the way I was, like killing myself. And I know that people are confused and like I'm confused because I might see something as a threat instead of, like I've been pushing a lot of people out of my lives because if you're not helping the problem or neutral, then you're hurting the problem.
Right.
And I just, when you have that big of a change, you react very suddenly and powerfully. And I almost gave up. I almost lost you. I almost lost a friend, Alana, because I overreacted when I wasn't. It's like I was so new to this change where it was like, but I sent her this video and I said, if you want to understand who I am right now, this is exactly me. And it just gets better. And if you want, do you want me to go ahead and pull up the second clip? Because he kind of goes into the whole purpose of all of this. And yeah, you can actually close that one if you want that first one.
The second one.
Yeah. Are you still running the show or do you want me to take over, Simon? Oh, okay. You cannot control this. Okay, that's totally fine. Bye. I got this. All right. Let's see. So this is about 48 seconds.
Top.
Oh, mute your mic. I'm sorry. Clunk, clunk.
For having his first #1 bestseller.
And I just wanted to say what a warm welcome to a fellow Canadian. Very nice to be back here.
It's lovely to have you. I've been looking forward to this. Congratulations on the book. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
How's the process been of just talking about it? How have you
It's
found-
been, what it's all about is helping people.
We got a technical issue. Hang on. So, yeah, if you want to mess with that, I'm going to switch the camera over. Damn it. Can you pull up on your email? Go ahead.
On that one, go to
41
41 minutes.
minutes. Word. Do 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 do. All right, let's try that one again.
It was always, when I wanted to stop, I was like, God, this is too much. It's too much. Stop. I always went to, no matter how far down the scale I've gone, I'll be able to help somebody who's gone down that far too. So I kept going. And that's the only reason I kept going.
What does helping other people give you in your own journey then?
It is, I can't describe it. It's something spiritual. It fills your heart. You see the lights coming on for a new person who didn't understand. That guy didn't have the guy who said, it's not your fault. I said that to him. And then I saw this look of, relief that it wasn't his fault. And we started talking in a completely different way. And I get as much help from talking to.
So, he went to a spiritual guide, and it was actually suggested to him. I think he said it was suggested to him. I'm not going to presume anything, but it was suggested to him by professionals, and it was a spiritual person who was like, "Well, first of all, this isn't your fault. Like, this is a disease," and he goes in to explain it. I think it was 1957 when the medical community decided, all right, look, alcoholism is a disease, not, like it's. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I love about him is that literally he had this change, which is exactly mine, and what he came out with it on top of a top seller or bestseller, whatever. He was like, when I die, my legacy. I hope the first that what he said is in this video. He says, I hope that the first thing that people think of is me helping people with this kind of problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
But spirituality touched him in that sense, and that's where I want to.
So basically, from a spirituality standpoint, with him drinking as much as he was, alcohol, basically anything you do that negatively affects you
There is one more clip, but yeah, I want to hear it. Yeah.
would put you and your body in a negative vibration. And so the reason why we say that is because the more negative you are, the more you yourself affects the world around you.
Okay.
So, when you have an intention, the universe will prepare you for the new version of yourself that you're going into to get what you desire. So if you're negative and you're drinking and you just want to feel happy, maybe that's because that's what started you on your
You mean it, man?
or your alcoholism journey by, you wanted to be happy, now you're just addicted to alcohol. Well, you're telling the universe, I just want to drink all day, I just want to do this, that, and the other. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to sit there all day and you're going to drink and drink and drink. But since it's not something positive, you end up bringing the worst parts of yourself. And so that's why what's really interesting is us as humans, we can go either way. We can go toward a negative vibration, meaning we go to our negative self, or we go to a higher vibration, which would be our positive self. And so the more positive you are, the better off, the more the universe will understand you, and it will, quote unquote, grant you those things that you desire. So, like, for instance, when I was in a negative state for a very long time, I was sick and tired of the way my body was, just being diabetic in general. I was sick and tired of all the medical shit I've had to go through for 25 years. Even before I found out I was diabetic, I was sick and tired of just my life. And so what did the universe do? It kept it the same. I was still suffering. Nothing happened. Then when I changed, things started changing along with me. I got a new job. I moved out. I could even save money for the very first time. For the very first time in general. I was able to have a savings, and I moved out. I was able to get away from my old life and start a new one. That's what I wanted.
Well, before we jump too much into spirituality, because I think that's where this whole podcast is leading to.
But that's the example.
Yeah.
So with him, since he's treating himself very negatively, he's going to get a negative outcome.
Yeah.
From the universe.
And then he finally realized that, because he even said at some point in the video, he was like, I realized, and I see this. He said the first time, well, he drank. I don't remember. I do remember. Excuse me, my first drink. I guess technically it was a light beer that my dad let me try when I was like, I don't even know how old, but very young. And everyone drank in Wisconsin and still drinks in Wisconsin. Apparently, it's the Midwest thing to do. But and then they were like, "Oh yeah, sure, taste it." And I hated it, but anyway, we do know alcoholism ran in my genetics, even though I'm adopted. That's one thing we learned. About the only thing I learned. But one thing he talks about is when he first had his first real drink, and I remember my first real drink when I first got drunk.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I laid down and looked up to the sky, and I thought to myself, this must be what every normal person feels like. And even the person he's talking to, because we've discussed this, like, well, what's a normal person? Because someone quite, I think Sleepy brought that up. Well, what's a normal person or something like that?
Right.
Can't remember who. Someone did. But it's like, well, come on. We know it, we know what we mean when we say the word normal. We don't need to get into semantics and start a fucking conversation about that. We're saying the average person. He's saying normal people. This must be what they all feel like when they're happy or they feel normal. And to me, when I was drinking, I thought, and he said, and it was, he didn't know the truth. And that's the thing right there, is it's lying to you the whole time you're drinking. Your whole existence, like, it's lying to you.
Yeah, well, it does. And also I've noticed, like, when I was younger, I was the life of the party. That's how I was whenever I was just a younger kid. And even if it was, my parents brought me along because their other, their friends had kids and, whatever. And we went over to their house and there was like a party. I was always the life of the party. And that was before I even touched alcohol. That was even before I was 21, before I even really drank. And then when I started partying...
Didn't you have a funny first drink story? Actually, with your dad, like, breaking the rules for you?
We were out boating with some of his friends. And so we were just on, like, we're just on this boat floating around, and then you could jump in the water and float around next to it or whatever. And we're just all hanging out, and my dad's like, give me a beer. And I'm like, okay. And he's like floating out there, and I'm like, how do you want me to give this to you? Just like, throw it? Or he's like, no, don't throw it. Jump in the water with it. And then,
like Russian style, hold it over the water, make it survive.
It was in a beer. It was sealed, so he was gonna pop it off. It was.
You never saw that image on Reddit? It's like, it's this Russia. So I think it starts as a video in this, like.
Well, see, I was gonna pop it off and just jump in holding it anyway. Cause like, I felt like that's what he wanted. He was like, no, just keep it sealed, jump in, swim over here, and then the beer. So I'm like, okay. So I just take the beer, I jump in the water. And then I swim over to him. I'm like, here you go. And he just goes. And then he's like, here you go.
I thought there was another one though where your mom wasn't wanting you to drink.
Oh no, that was
midnight or something like that.
That was when I was almost 21. Like literally, it was.
Yeah, right. No, that's what I'm saying. He broke the rules. He was like, yeah, look, what was it? It was like 30 minutes. I don't know. That's what the one I was thinking of. Like, he was like, fuck it, let him drink. If he's able to do this, let him drink or something.
Yeah, that one was. That was when I was basically going to turn 21 on January 11th, the midnight of. And so I was at home and I was like, well, do you have any alcohol in the house? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, I want to drink. I'm almost 21, Mom. And then she was like, well, I want him to wait till midnight. Well, we'll just get it in the morning or some shit like that. I'm like, no, I want to fucking drink. Like, come on. And then it got closer to the time, and it was like 2 hours before, and my stepdad goes, let's just go out and get some alcohol for him. He doesn't have to come with us. We'll just grab it, come back, and he can drink. And my mom's like, oh, okay. Because, I couldn't go out and buy it because I wasn't 21. But my stepdad was like, he could turn 21 in 2 hours. So, like, just let him fucking drink. And so they went out and grabbed it, came back, and I told my stepdad anything but Bud Light. And guess what he brought back? Bud Light. And do you know what his excuse was?
What?
That's the only thing I drink. And I go, I'm not you. I don't want to drink that shit.
Well, here, let's pull up real quick the final clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
It's 16 in Germany.
And it's what is it? Because you can, and they changed the smoking cigarettes law. I mean, now that's 21.
Yep.
I think everywhere. Well, in the U.S. Right.
But In Germany, it's 16 to drink and 16 to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, and yet there's still states where. Never mind. We don't even need to get into it. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Christian, what they claim to be Bible thumping states, are still allowing 16-year-olds to have sex and get married at 14. So I have no idea what the hell's going on in the
That was
U.S.
probably back in the old Bible days when you didn't live very long. Like
That's
when,
another
yeah,
podcast.
When people didn't live to at most maybe 20, 25, kids were getting married at 15,
yeah.
16.
Back when the average lifespan was what, like 30, back in like how many fucking hundreds of years ago?
Yeah,
Like, sure, I understand. It's like, well,
Right.
let's pump out some human beings. But like, sorry, dude. Now we can be intelligent before we do crazy shit like that.
Although the other thing is, a woman is most fertile when she's like 16 anyway. So
And that's when the period comes on,
Right.
blah blah blah. But yeah, exactly. But that's not the point. It's
Well,
like they're
right.
not mentally prepared for it. And the funny thing is too, it's like, dude, again, like I said, I already have two of my best friends who I thought were far beyond me. No offense, I think I caught up and beat them because one's already been divorced. And they're, you know what, I don't want to get into, they're both very successful in their own ways, but I think they don't really know I think they're back to square one as far as what am I doing with my life. Whereas I finally realized, which is why I stopped drinking, that, you know, copious amounts of poison. It was like, I have a goal that I know is achievable. I cannot do that if I'm dead. And he talks about this too. Oh, that's what I wanted you to do, Simon, is the third clip. We're lagging. Dude, you're pulling that up. I think it might be lagging the shit out a little bit. But anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, pull up the third clip, but he was... Fuck, I lost my train of thought. 47, 18. All right, no moving the mouse. No messing with me. Stop it.
we have a 2319.
It's a 23, 19, 16, 11, 187 on an undercover cop.
And actually, I think they said something where if you take those numbers and like plug them into the alphabet and see what letters they are, they spell something.
Wait, I don't even know what we're talking about. I thought I was talking about police codes that I was making up, except for 187. I only know that because of
2319.
that rap song in
is
the...
from Monsters Inc.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's like their code for having humans in the monster world when a kid will accidentally go through their closet when the portal or whatever the fuck they make.
Dude, those were good movies.
Yeah.
Those are like legit.
And then
Even as an adult, you
going
can
back,
appreciate them.
There's videos of people taking all the Disney movies and they're all related, and you'll see like different parts.
They
of
share
different
the
movies.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they were honestly like, I remember when they first started doing videos on that, and they're like, yeah, if you notice in Monsters
So,
Inc.,
like-
there's a... Well, or you'd see
So,
Toy Story pop up
in,
everywhere, or whatever.
In that one show, or
You can go to his camera if you
Let's
want.
see,
He's talking. Yeah, you can go to Ben's camera.
in that one movie, I think it was like it was not Braveheart, but Brave. Yeah, it was about this
Yeah, I never saw that one.
this Viking girl. It turns
Yeah.
out the witch who gave her the spell to turn her mom into a bear or whatever
Yeah.
is Boo from Monsters Inc.
Oh, fuck.
Because you see like a picture etched into a log that she had because she was doing a lot of wood carving of Sully in the corner
shit.
of the wood shop.
Dude, the only thing I know
And
about...
so the
Okay.
theory is what happened was she was trying to find Sully again, and so she found a way to jump through those portals and stuff, and she ended up back in time and grew up in that time, and that's why she's...
Did you ever
she's old.
watch the show Once Upon a Time? Brave, yeah, he kept Brave. But did you ever watch the show Once Upon a Time?
Yeah.
So it took a while. Well, again, it took sobriety, but I always got stuck. I remember trying to rewatch. So I think I probably watched it maybe 4 times up until the Frozen era of that show. I think it was like season 4, and it's because that was when it got to the point where I didn't know anything about all these new characters. This was when Frozen was new, and they introduced the girl from this is where I was going with this Brave. And like that's all I know from these characters is like this. So finally, when I sobered up and I was like, dude, I really want to watch the show because I loved it and I
Right.
still do. I mean, it was incredible, and in fact, it's made by such a good fucking I don't remember. I think it's the same person that did Lost. I think maybe no. There's some writers that are on both shows. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Go
Great
ahead and
writer.
roll the next
Um,
clip.
But sure, it wasn't a name that I knew. It was just like, okay, I saw similarities between Lost and Once Upon a Time, especially with the time travel, with well, I don't want to say alternate realities, but there's just a lot of the writing. It just made sense that it was like, all right, something matches up here. There's patterns. But then they started going into Brave and all this shit, and I was like, who the fuck is this girl? But she was hot. I love redheads. What can I say? But there was like, she had this battle with other tribes and shit, and I was like, I have no idea who you are. So then I found out, it's from that animated movie called Brave. I was like, okay. But I never watched Frozen, although me and our producer, community manager, Simon, have a mutual acquaintance that Irish 2K who will swear on his life that he loves that movie and has seen it easily a dozen times. Now, originally, I think he had to watch it for his children's sake, but he said, honestly, dude, I love this movie. And I was like, but I've never seen it. I don't know anything.
Right.
Like, the only shit I know is from Once Upon a
See,
Time.
I watched Frozen with my sister because my sister wanted to watch it. My mom's like, yeah, well, we'll just play it for her. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm watching it with her. I ended up falling asleep because it was so bad. And then I ended
So you
up,
didn't like it?
yeah, but then I watched it in Germany because,
Was it in German?
yeah, because
Oh.
my
I guess that makes sense.
my host brother had a little sister, and it was easy to learn German by watching kids shows.
Ah.
And so I sat there in the car with her, and the little video in the back seat, because they had like a little screen for in the van we were in, and it just pulled down, and then they pulled up the German subtitles, and then I just read the German, and I could understand it. And yeah, it was just. But that time I stayed awake for it because I don't know. I guess just because you're
Well, it's
you're
probably more engaging
yeah,
when you're
because-
learning a language while you're.
right.
Well, so what didn't you? I mean, well,
It
we
was
don't
just
need to
bo-
get
it was
into-
just boring.
You think it's boring? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
just-
that's fine. Like,
it's
I
obviously-
don't know anything
it-
about it, so
It's obviously tailored toward
children. I mean,
children
but so
and
whatever
younger
Chris
girls.
found interesting. So that's 1 and 1. Like, if I have a study showing who likes it, I have one adult that does, one adult that doesn't. Simon, what's your opinion?
Which one are you on about? Which movie?
Frozen.
Brave. Oh, Frozen. I'm a major fan, so I don't even know.
Okay.
I'm a big fan. I've seen both of them at least probably 8 or 9 times each.
Wow. By like on your were you like
On
were
my
you,
own. On my own.
okay? So maybe I should watch it
I'm a
then.
big Disney
Oh,
Pixar
no.
fan. I'm a big
Well,
fan of all of
they
them.
See-
they sing too much. I don't
Okay,
like,
see,
yeah,
I don't like musicals. I will
don't-
say that.
it's more of a it's
But
more
hang
of-
on. I will say this. There are exceptions. So, Psych had 1 episode. Supernatural had 1 episode. There's The Wizard of Oz that I approve of. Other
Vampire Slayer had one.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, always okay. Stargate, I do not believe had because you would think that kind of show would have because they had the time loop episode, they had the
They didn't have a musical episode.
no, they didn't have a musical episode in Stargate. No, not in any of the iterations.
we're
So,
getting off track.
well, I know now we're talking about my love of TV shows. So we got one more clip. You said it's at. I'm gonna play it and let's see what we got here.
The time frame for that one should be 45
4718. All right, I'm close enough. Go ahead and mute your mic. But Simon will forget and tell you not to mute your mic.
Don't leave an AA meeting till you know which one is next. That's my big hint in AA.
Amanda asks, did you learn anything new about yourself through the process of writing this book?
Yeah, I learned how close I came to death and how often that happened and how I just never want to do it again.
And that's honestly right there, like, I think. So he said this is, you can unmute your mic. He says this is what he got out of writing the book. That's what stopped me from drinking, is the minute I started hallucinating and getting called out by good friends of mine and family, and I don't know how to explain it, because it wasn't AA. It wasn't, you know.
Well, I guess you should say family and friends are tougher.
It's a form of therapy in and of its, or,
right. But I think the reason why AA isn't for everybody is because really the majority of the time, all you're doing is listening to other people's experiences. You're not actually talking about the actual issues. Now, you might do that every once in a while, but generally you're just, the majority of the time when you're at a group like that, you're all sitting down, you all don't want to be there because whatever, you might be court ordered.
It might be, yeah,
right.
exactly.
And so you're sitting there and you don't want to listen, and then you have these people just tell these random stories about, like, oh, hey, they're recovered now, but they're like, oh, hey, I wanted to drink because I had this trigger or whatever. And you're sitting here and you're like, well,
you know how I felt
in your head, you're probably like, well, you know what? I don't really give a shit about this guy who's standing up here talking to me about him him having a trigger to drink, when you maybe want to talk about what led you to the drinking, or you're trying, the goal is to try to fix yourself. But my point is, with family and friends, you have a better opportunity of opening up,
and they scare you a little more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's so here's my experience with AA. I tried it by choice. I was never forced to, but I knew, this was years ago, back in California, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give this a shot. And when I went, I'm thinking, well, I'm brand new, so I hope I'm heard, and that's kind of what you just said. Like, but what I ended up doing was listening to people who, a lot of them sat there and said, well, I'm here because I have to be, or, well, I just drink because sad thing, and it's like, or I want to drink because, and a lot of them, they still drink, and that's fine. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but. And then you get really, really good stories too. Look, AA, there's a reason it exists, and it's incredibly successful, but it doesn't work for everyone. I didn't feel heard personally, so it gave me that. But when multiple people, look, I would say it's fair to say that I'm an intelligent person. And he's yawning. He's like, sure, whatever.
No, you just can't stop yawning for some reason.
It's because Simon took too long to set this shit up for us.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Remember you took a nap? You got some. I'm sorry, what? Do you have something to say, Simon?
You never told me your clocks had changed, so don't blame this one on me.
I didn't know that you didn't have a time change. That honestly. That didn't come into your head or my head. Think about it. It wasn't. I know it's an obvious thought. Like, duh, that would make. Just like when I was fishing and I found out this guy would. He goes, yeah, I'm still waiting for winter to end, and I was like, oh shit. I just realized it's 4 a.m. here, and he's talking about a different. I can already establish he's not from the U.S. if I'm awake when I shouldn't be, but I am. So most likely they're from somewhere else. And he goes, oh, it's still winter. And it's like, okay, hold up. I never thought about this. And I mean, again, it's a very simple concept. seasons are different on different locations of the planet. He's from Australia. It's not summer or
Because
whatever.
your part of the world
Yeah,
doesn't.
it's our hemisphere is fucking.
Does-
We're stuck in this
doesn't
weird
reach.
long spring.
What happens
winter
is
thing.
your part of the world doesn't reach the other end, or it doesn't reach the sun as frequently, or depending on where you are, it could take longer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the
And
word's
so
hemisphere,
it-
isn't it? Hemisphere.
Yeah, and so your seasons are different because it's might be cooler where you live because you're.
Well, exactly. It's an obvious thought, but like you don't really think about it till you do. Then it becomes like you don't forget it. Then it's just stuck in your head forever. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. No, what were we just talking about? Yeah, what were we talking about? You were yawning. Oh, I said I'm a fairly smart person, but so I always pick up on patterns, and I think you're pretty aware of this. I do pick up on patterns. I can tell real easily if you're having a bad day or if, you know, blah 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 blah. Who cares? But when, let's see, ghetto Canadian, or no, sorry, trashy Canadian girl tells you, your best friend Francesca tells you, Ben, the producer, tells you, the psychopath tells you, the Brit, you didn't tell me shit, did you?
Yes, multiple times, but you're completely wasted each time.
Well, so, but when it all happens in such a compacted time frame, you gotta really just stop. I don't know how to narrow down the point in which it was fascinating because I, right then and there, whenever it was, however it happened, I knew that I needed to stop smoking cigarettes and I knew that I needed to stop drinking. And I knew that I was gonna die and that I couldn't get anything accomplished if I was gonna, dude, I knew I wouldn't be able to hold a job. I wouldn't be able to have a relationship. I
I
wouldn't
would
be able to have
say
kids.
you were. It looked like this, like the state of your body. Whenever I would see you,
Mhm.
it looked like you were probably about a year to 2 years left.
So, and I'm
you
okay
could-
with talking
and
about
I mean,
this.
you
You
could-
know, it's like
you
people
could-
need to understand how. That's why when I found this
You could
Matthew
tell.
Perry video,
You could tell that you aged like 10 years. So like you could tell that you've been drinking or you've been an alcoholic for about
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
And so you were even skinnier than you are now.
Yeah. Now I feel good. Like my
Right.
yeah. A little skinny. Like definitely.
But
I mean, you know, you could look at this. I'm a ghost. I'm a lanky ghost. But yeah.
but you basically just look like a walking stick man.
Skeleton.
Stick man, really.
Yeah. Enderman. Enderman is slender. I don't give a shit.
Slender man, really.
Slenderman. Yeah.
Yeah, just less creepy.
Thank you.
But then once you stop drinking, then your body can actually put on weight because
Well, I don't know.
really what's happening is when you drink alcohol, it damages every part of your body, whether you believe me or not. But because it
Oh, I
goes
believe you.
because it goes
I
because
felt it.
even when your body's detoxifying alcohol from you, it has to change alcohol. It has to convert it into a different chemical to get rid of it. But when it does that, that chemical is more toxic than the actual alcohol. And so, when you constantly do that, because it aggravates the pancreas, it aggravates, liver, kidneys,
stomach.
just everything, even
You
your
get
heart.
ulcers,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you're doing all
I didn't
that,
get
when you're
ulcers.
doing all that damage all at once for an extended amount of time, your body wants to eat, wants nutrients to fix yourself, but like you said, your stomach doesn't work right. So then how the fuck is it supposed to digest your food to get that energy to repair itself?
So here's the thing. And this is where the spirituality comes in. Like we've already talked plenty about unusual events that have occurred in our lives. Now Simon is very. Well, I think I'm opening him up to more of like an optimistic idea of there's a possibility of something we can't explain, not a god, but possibly something we can't explain that might have taken an interest in us. I'm just saying, possibility. Now we're getting into the spirituality.
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Well, okay,
I was
so-
segueing into a final point, but okay. Well, can I finish real quick and then you take off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because I don't want to lose my. So, but what I was going to say is, I was always when I was a kid, I was ignorant and I was an atheist. I was like, there's no God. That's impossible. And then when I got older, I realized how ignorant am I to assume that I know anything? Because I went to a school that is a Catholic college. However, it is all about philosophy and it teaches. I don't know if you know what the Socratic method is. I mean, you do. So yeah, you're not taught. You're given material and then you ask the questions and answer them yourself. And it's really impressive. And I didn't even take, again, with the alcohol, I didn't take advantage of that. But I am now, and I have over time slowly. But now it's all just picking up and shit, whatever. And so I'm, fuck, what was I going to say? Oh, after, I guess it's just, it seems impossible to me, logically, with the patterns and the connections, it all adds up to, it can't just, because why is it that I've never broken I've broken one bone my entire life, and that was from when Sluggy Dougie pissed me off so much I punched the fridge and I broke my finger, or knuckle.
Right.
Yeah, or this hand, I think. I can't even remember, thank God. But other than that, and that was self-inflicted. So you can't really blame anyone but myself. But I've never broken a bone. I've never had major surgery. I barely get sick. I've never had a cavity, even though I was drinking, smoking, you know what I mean?
Right.
I've been so lucky and fortunate, even though I've been horrible to my body. And then all of a sudden something kicked in and I saw all these patterns add up. And I was like, something beyond me gives a shit about me. And I know that's baffling and it's ridiculous because I would never think this a year ago. Not even a little bit. Not even a minute little bit. I'd be like, maybe. Now I'm saying, fuck yeah, but I have no clue what's going on. Not a single clue.
So, what you're experiencing is pretty simple. In terms of spirituality, it's you that's in control of your life. It's nobody else. There's no real higher being except for, like I said, your higher self.
Even when I was acting like
So,
a piece of shit
hold
and
on,
all the
hold
good
on.
was still happening.
So what I'm saying is, you technically, yes, we do have these quote unquote dimensional beings, but
You mean
they're
what you believe?
yeah,
This is what,
Right,
what you're
right.
saying. You believe this. Okay.
but they're you. You have
Okay.
your high,
Oh,
you have your
okay.
higher self, meaning the best person you could be, and you have your lower self, or you have your. That's putting the positive and negative spectrum that I told you about
Into context.
in form.
Yeah, into context.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have your higher self and you have your lower self.
Okay.
And so you yourself right now, you're neither of those. You can either be the worst person that you can be by staying on
You're saying literally me,
yeah,
or
by staying on that negative path, or by doing things that lower your vibration. That'll be
what I was doing.
right. That brings out the worst of you. And so even alcohol, in my belief system, that's negative. No matter what.
Sure. Yes.
Whether you're
There's nothing
whether-
truly
right.
good that
Whe-
comes
whether-
out of alcohol.
Whether you have
Sadly.
even if you have one beer just to relax, that's still considered a negative practice.
Well, it's hurting
right,
yourself.
but
That's
I'm
all.
saying
Yeah.
beyond that,
Not hard. It's just it's
right.
hurting yourself.
But what
yeah.
I'm saying is, for your body,
No doctor.
and
Well,
for-
they used to.
and for your-
Remember back they'd tell you to rub.
let me finish. And
Yeah.
for your spiritual side, that's very bad. Because do you know why they call like hard alcohol spirits? Because you get so drunk enough that you lose your inhibitions, and it's like somebody else is taking over you and doing things.
Oh my God, I've never heard of that before.
That's how they explained it. So it's almost like you're shutting down your, who you are for something else to come in and take
So
over.
like you're being possessed hypothetically,
Yeah,
like in a
right.
weird,
Right.
like religious
But,
context.
You know, it's also considered negative because you are damaging your body.
Yes, period.
But
Like, yeah. I mean,
so when you do things that are
to an
more
extent.
negatively based, you become the worst person or the worst version of yourself. When you do things more positive with your life, like for instance, he said he has enjoyment for helping people with alcoholism because he struggled with that. And so that's something that's high vibrational, so that's going to raise his vibration. He's going to be more positive, and he's getting out of life what he wants.
And he straight up said it too.
And so if you notice people who have more positive intentions in life, they get what they want out of life. And the people who are negative feel like, oh, well, we're stuck here, and they just keep complaining and complaining and complaining, and nothing gets done. Because the universe will provide to you, but you have to prove to the universe that you're ready for it.
So I would agree with you. See, I understand that. Like, and that's that. So I know you express that. Again, we go back to the conversation of it's semantics, because what you're saying is no different than
But I'm saying
if I give a shit and try.
But I'm saying there's no God. There's no one in control of your life.
Yeah, I don't like the word God.
Or helping.
It's too definitive.
Or helping you in any way. It's you yourself doing everything.
So then again,
Because did anyone really help you get out of alcoholism? Besides
no, I
starving?
mean, so that's a good question,
But
because
besides-
I had a tribute or
I'm saying
contributions.
besides communicating with you and just saying, hey, you're an alcoholic, you need to stop drinking. I'm saying besides that. So once people intervened and said, hey, you're drinking, you need to stop. After that, did anybody else really help you?
No, I mean
'Cause you even said
that's
you-
where I
yeah,
struggle
'cause
trying to
you
figure
even
out.
said that you-
I know it was me. It's embarrassing. So not embarrassing.
So
That's
you-
not the right word.
you
Hang on.
even
No, no, no.
said,
Let me finish real quick. Let me answer your question. I don't like answering because I ask myself that question all the time. What, you know? So if you, I don't like calling it higher power, God, whatever. I like observer. I like observer, you know? Just something that observes, and then that's possibly maybe it. But we'll call it an observer. But I'll tell you what, the minute explain it, man. It's it is spiritual. Well, but I'll say this to answer the question. Sorry, back to the question. I know for a fact I don't like answering that question because I know the answer, but I want to give credit where credit's due. But the fact of the matter is, I quit drinking because of my choice.
okay.
And that's
So
a fact.
then by that, so by that basis, it was you yourself that officially decided to give up, to stop drinking.
Yep.
So that's you. There's no, when people say they pray to some God and they're like, oh, well, we want you to feel better.
And I understand.
Well,
I agree with you.
thank
on
you,
that one, yeah.
.
Somehow it's still up to
When
you.
it's
It's still up to you.
when they say that to me, I'm like, okay, thank you. And then at the same time, I'm like, well, whatever. It's not really going to do anything.
I hate when people ask
Because
you to
it-
pray, man.
because it's like,
what do you,
okay,
who are you
for
asking, and what are you asking for? Like, what
for
do you want a
instance,
puppy today? Like, dude, no one's gonna give you shit. You gotta earn it and take it. And look, it's okay to.
For example,
Sure.
so when you have someone go in for a major surgery, let's say, all right, and they have a chance of dying. Well, you have a chance of dying when you go under the table. No matter what you're
getting
doing.
your teeth
Right.
pulled. Yeah.
So you already know that can happen. But if you're with if you're with a doctor who knows what he's doing, who's very well educated, who's done this hundreds of times, more than
expectations
likely,
go up.
right?
Yeah.
More than likely, you're going to survive. So you have these people all gather in a room.
Statistically speaking.
Yes.
Come on.
So when you're gathered in a room and you're praying for this person to get better, well, odds are they're going to get better. They're going to survive the surgery. Especially now if something happens, like anything can happen, but I guess what I'm trying to say is,
do you think
I
People
feel
that pray that praying doesn't matter. I'm actually wondering.
Yeah, because
I'm curious about that.
because
Because I wonder that. I have no idea. Like when I'm talking to Jacob,
So-
which I just a name, it's like,
For
is
instance-
anything even listening?
For instance, I tried to pray one
Or
time.
am I doing this myself? You know, is my success coming from me? Sorry, go ahead, my man.
For instance, I tried to pray. That didn't work out. Nothing happened afterwards. Like I tried everything. I was told, "Oh, you have to build your relationship with God." I'm like, "Okay, so I got to date this fucker?" Like, you know? But I was like, "Okay." I took in what that meant. I put in some work. I read a little bit of the Bible, you know, whatever. And it was just like nothing's changing. Like nothing, like I didn't feel this presence.
I never had an experience
because-
with any religion,
because-
I'll tell you that.
Because people would say like, "Oh, well, you know, he's everywhere. I feel his presence." Or
Yeah, I never understood that.
Or I feel
Or
like
customers, do you ever have customers tell you like, "Oh, I hope God's with you today. God will be with you."
Right.
Like, and it's like, I'm sorry, but whatever you think God is, that doesn't exist. Like, it doesn't. Like, I know that sounds harsh, but
right.
it's a beautiful idea. But even I have no idea what the fuck I'm like believing in or accepting.
But if
it
you
does-
notice
sorry.
now, all of these celebrities are doing their own thing, and I think it was Jim Carrey.
He's profound as fuck, by the way. I was
Yeah,
watching
he
some
was-
of his shit. Definitely.
He's really big into spirituality.
Yeah.
He goes.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's completely changed his life.
He said, you know what he said real quick before I forget this quote? He said, and this is actually in the video we just pulled up. So it's a very recent quote, but Matthew Perry goes, well, he was doing something a couple months ago and he said, if you want, what did he say? Something like, if you want someone to succeed, let them get all of their dreams come true so that they realize that that's not the key to success.
Right.
Like basically everything you think, because Matthew Perry just wanted to be
Well,
famous.
even
Sorry, yeah.
you know, it also comes down to like motivation.
Yep.
Motivation, we have it backwards. Motivation is that's not what you need to do something, because whenever you ask, well, what do I need to do, or how do I need to think to do, let's say going to the gym, people just say motivation. No, motivation doesn't get you out of bed to go to the gym. It's
Gotta want it.
you have to force yourself.
It's willpower.
Yeah, but
you have to care.
it's discipline. You have to force yourself.
Did you just say extermination?
Determination.
Determination.
Yeah, determination.
Sure. So it goes back
So-
to the basic fundamentals of this podcast, is which
Right.
you have to give a shit. Once you do that, it comes to you. And I think that's what you're saying. It's not Jacob, Anthony. It's you.
So, for example, when I finally got my health back and I was just on the Ozempic, like this was before I'm even.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Old
before
drug,
where this is before where I am now. Okay, when I was just starting the
he was
Ozempic,
still taking medications.
yeah,
and-
basically I was weaning myself off of the insulin and taking the Ozempic at the same time, and then eventually you stop. You know, you're supposed to take the Ozempic for the rest of your life, but that's if you keep your diet the same and you continue to do the same things, because you can be on diet control. But anyway, when I was on the Ozempic, and,
Sorry, I'm not gonna lie. I get so zoned out watching your camera because your fucking arms are huge. And then literally, I just dissociated for a second, and my brain went to an. You know how I told you I dissociate all the time. It's one of my issues. I went to this reality of I should tell Ben that he actually, because you brought up to me, I think it was yesterday. You said, yeah, if ever anyone at the gym ever thinks that I was taking like steroids or anything, blah 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 blah. You said some. Here's the reasons. And I just realized something, and I know this might sound offensive, but here's the fact. I'm giving you a kind of backhanded compliment, but it really is a compliment. I know you don't take steroids because your voice doesn't match that sexy body. You have a voice of someone that's tiny, but a body of someone who would kick my ass for telling you that.
yeah.
Anyway, back to you.
So, while I was on that, taking both of those medications, or the insulin and the medication, you know, yes, that helped. And then eventually, when I got off the insulin, I was now on just this drug, and I realized, okay, in order to get off this drug, I have to be on diet controlled, meaning I no longer have to take the Ozempic. Whatever diet I'm eating is going to maintain my blood sugars. Well, on top of that, I said, well, why not make it easier and go back to the gym? Because for a while, I was in so much pain with my knees and my back. I remember when I was in a cast for 2 weeks, and I had to have, or I had to be on crutches for 2 weeks.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I couldn't go to Kroger. I couldn't work, so that means I didn't get paid. I'm just laying at home on crutches.
I don't know if
basically.
I physically saw you in the casts, but I remember
Yeah.
when that happened.
And so I couldn't even go over to your place because you
yeah,
stairs and everything.
I remember
Yeah.
inviting you, and you're like, I'm in a cast, I'm at home.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever.
I'm done.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But even after all that, I was still in a great deal of pain, but it was manageable. And then, me wanting to go back to the gym, me putting the intention into making my body better is what sped up the process. Because I could have just been sitting there taking my insulin, taking my Ozempic, and letting the medication do its work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I took it a step further and I said, look, I'm done with this. I finally have an out. I finally know what I have. I'm getting the right medication. Well, why not go a step further and put the actual work into it so I don't have to deal with this for 5 more years or 10 more years,
Yeah.
And I can have no shots.
Well, essentially the rest of your life. I
Right.
mean, originally it was like, here's the goal. We're misdiagnosing you. Enjoy your medication. Take shots for. By the way, I always love that moment when I was cleaning my living room about a year ago, and I left it there just for you. And remember, you came over, and I was like, Ben, check out what I found. And I hope you didn't think I was like trying to like get mad or anything. I thought it was hilarious. But I opened because you slept on the couch when you came over. And so I opened the couch when I was cleaning one time because I'm sorry, you guys leave me like 80 quarters, so I'm gonna take them. You know what I mean? Like while you guys were sleeping down there, it's like, okay, money. But I found a whole EpiPen that wasn't even used, and I was like, hey, is this expired? And you're like, oh, I don't. But that was right around the exact time you said I don't even use those anymore, and I was like, oh, there you go. Yeah.
Well, I think it was like,
Found
it was
a needle in my couch.
luckily it was wrapped up in
Yeah.
But those aren't EpiPens. It's just,
Oh,
I
not
get what
EpiPen,
you're
I'm
saying,
sorry,
but
yeah,
it's
insulin.
it's an insulin
Insulin.
pen. It looks like an EpiPen.
Yeah, because it was yellow,
Right.
whatever.
But it's called a flex pen or something.
Looked like I was playing DayZ.
Just because it's not like you're carrying around a syringe with you everywhere. But when what actually really profound, I found out now currently, after I got over what when I hit rock bottom, and then I kept moving forward, and then after I found spirituality, which is right around the time when I flipped, because after what happened with us, I was like, well, what am I interested in? Oh, well.
And wasn't that an interesting change in your mind too? Like it really happened for
So
me.
I think what allowed me to absorb it and really learn it was the fact that I was already in a bad place anyway,
Yeah.
because I was upset with myself for what I did.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, I was just tired of my life, and I knew that wasn't the right way, and I knew I came back, and so it was.
I'm glad you did, by the way.
And so, oh, thank you.
I know, I really
yeah.
am. You've turned out to be the best friend I have in Indiana. Period.
And so I realized I was hiding a lot of myself.
What do you mean, nice catch, Mr. Producer, man? Oh, Indiana. Oh, he's mad. Oh, is Simon mad because I said he's my best friend, and then I had to pause and say Indiana, but not in Britain? Should I add not in Britain? In Britain, it's definitely Simon. Simon's my
Based
homie.
on landmark location.
But based on landmark, exactly what he said. Based on landmark location, you're my best friend.
So
sure.
As I was progressing, and it was really interesting how I found that right away, because
Yeah.
in my current state of mind, I didn't know where to go from there. I was like, well, how can I change? And so it was just, I was like, all right, well, I would just started with what I was interested in, hobbies, or my hobbies, which was looking up
Your bike. I know you wanted your bike so bad, and you know what? You did. Like, really, think about it too. You wanted your bike, but see, and that's why I'm saying this whole observer thing. You stopped fucking up. You
Right.
got away from your parents' house. You have a stable home, a new job. Your bike came way early than it was supposed to. Then so did the muffler. I
Yep.
don't know shit about vehicles.
Yeah.
And then, we got a gas canister for you that some crazy woman left here that we kicked. Actually, we didn't have to kick her out. she was like, "Oh, I'm done with this.
Right.
I'm leaving."
Right.
And we were all like, "Okay, just can you go?" And then
Well,
she left, and we were like, "All right, what's next?
The
Let's
thing
play
was,
games."
this was, yeah, it was the start of the new year, but I was already introduced into spirituality for at least 6 months by then. So
Okay.
I've already been practicing, or I've,
Sure. Whatever
getting,
the fuck it is.
yeah, getting more in depth with it. And so I realized what I was wanting, I was getting. Because then when I got better at it, it was just like, well, I want my bike. I need my bike because I'm moving out, and it's been 2 years for this thing.
Hi, Angel Seth.
This thing to get fixed. And so, as time goes on, I started focusing on my intentions. I was like, I want to move out. I need a new job. And then when I was thinking
Excuse me.
around the time when I was thinking about a new job, that's when you mentioned your job. And then it was like, okay, then I got that. And I was like, I need a savings. And it was like, boom. It was not even my first 3 months. No, 4 months. My first 4 months, I already had a good chunk of.
So here's something I want to talk about that kind of freaks me out. Based on what you just said, if I'm putting into the universe what I'm hoping to get
Your
out of it-
intentions. No.
Mine's-
You can't. You can't.
No, we know about
No.
intentions, dude. We know about intentions.
Yeah,
It's
you
got to be
can't-
better than intentions.
No,
My
you-
mom has
no.
proven that.
You can't just hope for something, because it's not going to happen.
That's not what I'm. So let me
Right, no,
finish.
I was
though.
just defining.
Yeah, I got
because
you. I
there's-
got you. Yeah, no, I'm on the
in
same
my belief
page for sure.
system, it's different. You can't just be like, look, I hope to have $1 million. Okay, your intention, what you want, has to be the $1 million, or your intention is to just be a millionaire, let's say. But it can't be, I hope for $1 million. It has to be, I want.
And here's why.
Okay.
No. I'm saying even if you want $1 million,
Mhm.
you should have the intention of why.
Right.
Why do you want $1 million?
Right. Exactly.
I don't want $1 million. Like personally, I would never
Right,
need $1 million.
because you need intention.
At one time.
You need to make your intentions very clear.
Yeah.
Because, that's like saying, oh, I just want to be happy. Well, okay. Well, why do you want to be happy? What's,
I remember the other clip that follows this.
you have to give you have to have something in your mind that says, I'm happy because of this, and this is what I want. So if you're saying the only way, basically, if you want kids, that makes you happy, right?
Yeah.
You have to basically tell the universe, I want kids, and you have to turn into a different version of yourself that will allow that new version of yourself to handle what's going on. So not only do you have to give out the intention of what you want, but you also have to change yourself into the person who's going to do that. Because let's say your current state of mind, yeah, I want kids, right? But me, I know I'm not ready for it. I know all the basic facts you learn in health class and all that shit, but that's not going to prepare you for an actual kid. You have to grow up, mature, and know exactly. I mean, parents don't really know exactly what they're doing, but you need to be prepared for what's to come. So by doing that, that's why for some people it takes a very long time for them to have kids, because the universe is like, look, I understand, but if I give you a kid right now, you might be on the streets with your current,
So let me. Fuck. That's a lot, actually. Because my whole goal in life, or at least my original goal in life, was to have kids, and then I'm really glad I'm glad I don't have kids right now, because I've seen what it's done to people. Back when I was in my 20s, people were just flooding the world with their kids, and I was jealous and thought I was behind, but in reality, like you said, as much as I'd love to, excuse me, must be that dinner finally digesting. But as much as I'd love to have kids dude, if I was raising kids in my 20s, I'd be teaching them what? I lost 10 years of my life to alcoholism. So I'm so grateful that I did not have kids. I mean, think about what relationship would I have been in that landed in kids. Even if by choice, would that really be the right option? And now it's like, dude, look at this shit. I have my own studio in my own home with my own master bedroom and my own bathroom. And if I want to, when I'm not afraid to, when I'm not terrified, I will go start dating again. But I'll tell you this, you're damn right. I'm still not ready for kids.
Because like when we both say, you know, yeah, I want kids, we're hoping.
One day.
Yeah, we're hoping. So by saying that, it's not going to happen yet. You can
It's a
hope
good
all you
goal,
want.
though.
Yeah,
It's a nice goal.
you can hope all you want for kids, but you have to put yourself in that position where you
gotta make
can't,
it to
where
that
you can
position.
make it happen. That's where it comes back to where there is no God. It's you in control.
So and that,
You're in control.
I
of,
want to. So I want to touch back right there. You just
Yeah.
said it right there. It goes back right to you're in control, but that doesn't still explain when I was a piece of shit. Why did I get exactly the car I was looking for? Why did I get a place to? When I said I wanted to move, Simon was here for this. I was like, dude, I'm done here. There's nothing for me. It's too expensive. I'm lost. And he doesn't even know this, but really I was so lost in alcoholism. I was barely working. I was miserable. And it wasn't so anyway, all this shit was happening to me. Maybe it was because, you know what, you could be right. Maybe the initial step Anthony Erdman took was I need to leave California. Like leave all of this behind me.
right.
And you know what I did too, by the way, and I know Simon's seen this, and anyone who's been on my YouTube channel, they'll notice there's no content that came before you and I started our podcast.
Right.
Because that's not who I am.
Right.
It might have been good content, it might have been fun, funny, entertaining, educational, but that does
version-
not represent who I am.
That version of yourself doesn't exist.
That version of myself is wiped off the face of the earth. And I got rid of the people. And a lot of them came back and said, are you okay? Are you doing? And it's like the only way I could explain it to them, because my uncle actually, it was so cool to catch up with him again. He's the one who got me into fishing when I was adopted. I was 6 years old. First thing I did when I got to Wisconsin to meet my family, my extended relatives, my Uncle Tom took me fishing. And anyway, I got stories about that, but no one cares right now. I'll save that for the fishing podcast. But what the hell was I talking about? Simon, help me out. What the hell was I just talking about? Someone. I had a good point.
You were talking about when you moved from California.
Yeah, so I left it. So okay, so yeah, it could be that
So
I
your
chose to do
so
that.
your intention was
My intention was
to leave California and leave your
So maybe you're right. Maybe inherently, deep down, it didn't start with alcohol. It started with Anthony knows he needs a change. What can he do to do that?
right.
And I went through a total bunch of fuck ups, but somehow along the way, it led me right here. So this is
no,
what I was going
can
to say.
explain
I'm
that.
terrified.
So when
Really quick to end it. I'm terrified. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop. I'm terrified that this is all going to end. It's a dream. You're fucked. Like, but that's yeah.
So the reason why that does happen, like, you know, let's say you have an intention to have kids and you're going through that process. And let's say the first couple times, you know, she doesn't get pregnant. And then she finally does. And then you have, you know, let's say you have a miscarriage. And then finally you have a kid, right? Well, the universe does that to you to prepare you, but to also test you. Because you can believe in yourself and you say,
I do
look,
think a lot of it is tests. You and I have talked about
you
that
can-
in
'cause,
private. Yeah.
You know, you can believe that you're going to be, you know, you're going to win the next bodybuilding competition, and that's your intention, right?
yeah.
Well, it can't just be easy bread and butter. Okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I'm going to win the next bodybuilding competition.
Yeah.
No, you are going to struggle along the way, because if you don't change quickly, the universe will say, hey, you really want this? All right, we're going to make you change, but we're going to test you.
deserve it?
Do you deserve it?
That's how I
Yeah.
see it. Is sometimes I do feel like there's a bigger thing going on where it's
So-
like, do you really want to have a studio in your house? Okay, like Okay,
But-
first of all, I had to do all this shit
But
to get
also-
to even this point. But okay, if you want to do this, you got to put it together. You got to find the right people to work with. You got to all this shit. Do you want to do that? Then you got to fucking put the
So
effort.
to explain that is, it's not really the universe, like, is, let's say, a higher power in charge of you. You're in charge of it.
You're just saying it's logically makes sense.
Yeah,
that,
because
dude, like if you put the effort in, you get.
Right.
And see, that's how logically I thought about it for my entire life. That's what I'm saying.
But
Is
that's what you're doing. And so you have to be on the same level. You have to be able to communicate with the universe correctly. That's the key point there, is communication. Once you establish your communication with the universe, you have your intention, that intention goes through, then you have to act upon that intention, and then it will happen. So, like,
isn't that the same as science? See, it's almost like we're going into a circle here, because I'm trying to agree that something bigger is going on, and you're saying, yeah, spirituality does exist. This is what you put in and put out. But then you're wrapping back around
Because
and
it's-
basic,
because
and
it's
basically
you.
agreeing and
There's-
basically agreeing and saying that no, Anthony, it's just the effort you put in is
Right.
what you get out. It's just that simple. That's not spirituality. That's logic.
but what I'm saying is that's what's going on.
But then it's not spiritual. It's no longer spiritual.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be a spirituality. Isn't like, okay, there's something higher than myself. You know, changing or whatever.
I'm not saying higher.
You-
It doesn't have to be higher. I'm saying
You
more
okay?
than. How about more than yourself?
Okay, you yourself, you're a spiritual being in a physical body. You are not just a physical body on this earth.
Okay.
Okay.
And I've heard enough to understand that. Sure.
So,
Yeah.
you know, in terms of something like, in terms of you saying there's something spiritual or something guiding me, that's you. You're spiritual. The problem is you have a disconnect because you're not connected to that potential. Every human on earth should have that potential to be spiritual, to be connected to the universe, to do everything that you have and you want to do. And it's supposed to happen very easily. The problem is, over generations and over thousands and thousands of years, we have become disconnected with that ability.
So you're almost, and Simon, I want you to chime in here in a minute, but so you're almost more, I'm guessing, would you be more attached to the concept or idea of shamanism or copyright infringement? Anyone copyright infringement? That's it. Episode's over. We gotta go. I told him that earlier. He won't listen to me, dude. He doesn't take it seriously.
I forgot I had an alarm that went on.
Use his mic from now on.
He does have the power to do that. Don't do that though. By the way, how do the mics sound? Do you have the actual podcast open? Excellent. Because I see both the bars going off, but it's like I think the mics are better than we anticipated. But anyway, I want to hear your thought on this because I'm still confused. I guess okay, I'll say this the way I said it 20 years ago. Dead serious. 2 decades ago. I'm very confused still, but then again, I'm just now experiencing the concept of spirituality. But 20 years ago, I'll say the same thing. It's very difficult for me to distinguish spirituality from, so it used to be hard to distinguish it from, I was just going to say racism, religion, not far off. But it used to be difficult, really, to distinguish religion from spirituality. I was like, I don't get it. What's the difference?
Right.
And then I started to understand spirituality more. But now I'm struggling to understand the difference between reality and spiritualism. Because what you're telling me all sounds like it's just saying, here's one way I can word simply telling you that if you work hard, you will succeed, most likely. And isn't that's not, to me, that's not spirituality. You're not breaking that barrier. You're just speaking on realistic terms. You're speaking my language.
Right. So what? I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Sorry.
I get what you're saying with the confusion, but
Sure.
what it is it's there is no higher power, there is no God or goddess or whatever controlling everything.
No Gaia,
It's
Mother Earth.
it just as simple as it's you.
Throwing some grease
Okay,
in-
since you're a spiritual being in a physical body, you're supposed to be more in control of life on this planet. You're supposed to have better communication with the universe. You're supposed to be able to get things done very easily. The problem is, like I said, over the years, we've lost these abilities because we've been disconnected with who we are. That's what I'm saying. That's why you're feeling that disconnect. And once you start practicing spirituality, once you start meditating a little bit, trying to lucid dream, trying to really just open your third eye. I know you've probably heard that a lot, but so to speak, right. Then you will start to understand it's just me doing it, because it is just you doing it. And I've learned over time.
Sorry, we got you.
I've learned over time that it's me doing what I need to do to get to where I am now. It's nobody. It's no voice in my head saying do this, do that. This is what you do. No one guided me through diabetes. I had to besides my doctor, but even you can have shitty doctors like I did at first. No one told me, hey, it's time to take you off that medication. I took myself off the medication because I knew it was either A, not helping me, or B, making me feel worse. I need to change something.
So, real quick, I do want to jump back to actually our community manager, Karen. That'd be awful. I don't think I couldn't hire Karen. I'd feel so bad. I'd be like, no, I'm sorry.
Listen up,
I'm prejudiced against Karens.
if your name is Karen, you can't be hired.
I don't care how old you are. I just got a bad vibe already. But anyway, Simon, so you have a pretty well, you've heard his. So for me, that's very extreme in the level of spirituality. Like, it doesn't hit. It's not religion, thank God. It's clearly very different, and that I have learned. That I understand now. But now you've heard my opinions on it, which I feel like I know my brain works more analytically. It's like, all right, if X and Y and Z, then definitely 0. I don't know, I'm just making up shit. But I try to make logical sense of it, but also understanding I have no fucking clue what's going on. And do you even know what's going on? Do we really know what's going on?
We really don't.
Yeah.
But all I can say is now I'm in.
Do you feel better though?
Yeah, I'm in more control of my life than where I was at.
And I was never. Yeah,
and so that's why, like, right now I'm just focused on saving, because I just moved out. I'm really supposed to have more than what I have right now before I moved out, to be honest.
Well, I'm glad your spiritual fucking priorities led to money. That's very spiritual.
To be secure, because I know preemptively if I'm secure financially, then I can handle what's to come.
Well,
because I'm not going to say 5 years from now, or I'm not going to say for the next 5 years everything's going to be hunky dory, and I'm going to be just living the best life. I can't say that.
You're on the path. You're on the right path.
Right.
You're on a path of, it's like, okay, I know what I want to do. It's time to do it.
I'm preparing, so if that does happen, I can at least work through it, fix it, and
All right, I want to hear real quick. I want to hear Simon's take. So his spirituality. Whatever the fuck mine is, because I don't even know what the fuck's going on. But I do agree that what you put in, you deserve to get out, but it doesn't always work that way. And that's just, hey, statistically speaking. Come on, you got mad at me when I made that reference earlier. You didn't even give me credit for it. Statistically speaking, that's our thing, and you couldn't even throw me a little bone, just a tiny bone. Thank you. There, right there. I got a. No one saw him smile. Simon, you were on the wrong camera. No, it's too late. You're too late, man. I saw him smile. That's all that matters. Ah, yeah, there it is. Yep, you're right. Yep. Yeah, yeah. The producer does fucking smile.
No, I got it on the video. We know.
You
he
gotta
does
clip it.
smile. Wait. No, we know he does. We know he does smile now, as well as take anal.
Oh,
Wait, what?
I don't know. Apparently you take anal.
I don't take anal. I give anal.
Oh, he gives anal.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a little smile on his face when I said that.
I know he did smile again.
No, I went
saw
like
that
this.
one.
You can't
No,
see
he
my
smiled
face.
again.
My face
It's
because
okay,
my
dude.
sunglasses.
I love that he's saying the sunglasses covered up that
Because
smile
look,
that we both
if I give
just
you a
got
face
on the
of being
camera.
shocked, watch.
We got.
You can't tell.
But you smiled and it's on the camera. Why are you denying a smile? It's on the camera. You should be like, fuck yeah, smile, motherfucker.
I couldn't quite hear what you said. You're like, you said anal. Hold on. You said anal, and I was like, what?
Listening to both of you is just, you both are fucking hilarious.
Because I just saw Ben take his sunglasses off, and when he took his sunglasses off, I expected his eyes to be a lot bigger. They're tiny.
Well, dude, you put him to sleep earlier. What do you expect? He's been napping.
Well, of course he's been napping. He doesn't put any effort into preparing the podcast.
Oh, really?
That's
okay.
True. Oh, he's right. He's right about that one.
I produced the content.
You produced the. He's here to flex his sexy muscles and show off all his awesome hats.
So to speak.
So, oh yeah, that's right. Hat means another thing too, actually. Condoms. Yeah, I don't know how many he's flexing these days, but all right. So back to spiritual. Yeah, what can I say? It's been 5-6 years for me. Back to you. What's your take? Because you gave us some earlier when we were off air, but like, what's your take on this concept of spirituality? Your concept of not religion. Again, fuck religion, but spirituality. If you, I mean, anything. Give me anything.
It's all bollocks.
It's all bollocks. I figured you'd say that. Yeah. I mean, so like, I'm just curious. Like, do you want to extend on that, or is that it?
Yeah. No, I'm extending. Everything that you put into life, the universe will reward you for it. No, it fucking won't. The universe won't reward you. If the universe rewards you for everything that you do positive in life, then you wouldn't be losing loved ones left, right, and centre. There wouldn't be yourself getting like diseases, or there's be no famine. You wouldn't be in debt.
Well, it doesn't
The universe
reward
would
you.
be looking after you, wouldn't it? Because you know what? It's a load of bollocks. What you put into life is what you get out of life. Sometimes you have good luck. Sometimes you have bad luck. No matter what, you keep putting in the effort.
That's kind of how I literally still. I'm in a state of confusion. That's how I feel right now. I'm literally.
So don't.
About
Okay. So
35 years.
don't think of the universe giving you things as it's rewarding you. It's not like it's saying, "Oh, good job. Here's what you wanted." What I'm saying is, whatever your goal is, that's obviously what you want anyway. All you're doing is you're communicating that, you're putting the work in, you're changing yourself, and then you get that outcome of what you want. But in terms of yes, you're, a family member dying or something bad like that, I'm not saying you have control over that. That's not you. That's that other person. If it's their time to go, it's their time to go. Plain and simple. You have.
Hold on, wait. Let's hear him real quick.
To quote you said earlier in the podcast about the universe rewarding you.
Okay, then I misspoke. But my.
Just wanted to.
No, that's.
You did say something
Okay.
about.
Well, I am a little buzzed right now, but
I wanted to bust in there when you said about the universe rewarding you.
Well, no, but that's why it's okay though, because it's a very. That's what. So I think I'm in a position where it really. I think a lot of people understand where I have no fucking clue what I'm experiencing right now. I just took my microphone. Hang on, wait. No, you'll see it on the video after the delay. Oh, okay.
you just ripped the arm off the table.
I was like, fuck you, arm. I don't care. So, what were we talking? That was I just gone. What were we?
So you said what you're experiencing right
Oh,
now.
what I'm experiencing right now is very confusing because it's like dude, I'm about to turn 35 at the end of the month, and all of a sudden my brain has turned from fuck the world, no one listens to me, no one cares, I'm on my own, to all I want to do is help anyone in my vicinity, whether it be at our job with as simple stuff as that. And they're like, thank you. Or every time you hear someone, like what Matthew Perry was saying, like, when you see the relief come off of someone's face, when they say, oh, like they're like, oh no, don't worry, we can help you with that. Or like at work. Or it's like something in life where it's like, oh, how are you getting ill? Well, let me show you on the live stream. Or it's like anything. It's just like, and to see the enjoyment, it's like for one moment, you get to give them hope that things can be positive.
So by spreading positivity, by spreading hope, by doing that, not only do you change yourself, but you change the people around you, and then their lives get a little bit better. But here's the thing, when you help people a lot, you can also be used.
Yeah, that I found out too.
Right.
Yeah.
Example, Sluggy Duggy.
Yeah.
Or Zachary Antle, whatever. But
I
I don't care anymore. But, you know, because I feel like now looking back, he probably saw that. Because like I said, we don't know really how he views us.
We
like
don't.
Totally. But I feel like because we see what he wants us to see. We think he's dumb, sitting there, you know, not really doing anything.
There is no truth with him.
You know, yeah, he's not contributing to anything. But then really, in his mind, he's like, okay, I just moved out of my parents' place.
This is an opportunity.
This is an opportunity for me to basically have this person help me live. Because I bet you if he was still here, you would still be driving him around.
I'd still be putting signs up on the walls that tell him to not overuse the dryer and washer, stop leaving pantries open, wash the dishes when you're done with them. I mean, stop leaving your door open when you're masturbating. Like, it really is simple stuff. You know, the simple things.
And even that too. Like, that's just I can't even how are you like, all right, I'm horny, I want to jerk off, I'm gonna leave my door open. My bed, you know, I'm gonna have my bed facing out the door. I'm gonna have my dick in my hand. I'm gonna be jerking it.
And I gotta be ready for Anthony to walk by, for sure.
I don't care who walks by. And then
who else is gonna walk by? Obviously, dude. You gotta know, like, there's gotta be some idea in his head where he's like, he might walk by. That could be a little arousing, or
well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he likes.
Say it again.
It's more about the thrill of being caught.
Of being caught. So maybe that's all, because and then there's another time when I knocked on, and so I made a rule at the home, and I don't know if you heard this, if you listened to the previous episodes, probably not, that's okay. But the quality is only getting better, so it's a little different. By the way, you see the speed picking up on here? That's nice. But there was one time after the rule on the sticky note on the door that said, keep door closed.
Mm-hmm.
I knocked on his door, and he said, come in, and this is the one we talked about when we finally got, you're farting again. Yeah, he's hiding it now. The camera's on you. Too late, man. Yeah, you got him to smile there, yeah! He's like, I don't care, man.
Yeah, I farted. I had to fart.
Yeah, I'm fucking, I don't care.
It's a protein fart.
It's a protein fart.
You gotta let him out.
It's a testosterone protein fart, man. It's for my muscles.
Unless you shit yourself, then that's a different story.
I mean, how many shits have we both taken in the last 3 days?
I shit pretty frequently. I'll tell you that much.
Just becomes a thing, you know. No, so he presented, so I knocked on his door that was closed, and I had the sign on it, the sticky note, that said, keep your door closed. So I knocked on his door, because for whatever reason, I needed him. And he goes, come in. And this sluggy-duggy, slug-looking, sick fuck was laying naked on his bed. He reminded me exactly of who was the woman that played the role in Titanic, and she said, "Paint me like one of your French girls, and I'm gonna wear this necklace. Oh, just only the necklace." Okay, whoever, her, whatever.
Wait, what do you say?
Kate Blanchett.
Oh, okay. I thought he said
Is that
Kate,
right?
Kate Blanchett. I was like, what?
Bland shit.
No,
yes.
I thought he said that. I thought he said Kate Blanchett.
Cicada bland shit.
Cicada Blanchett.
Cicada bland shit. Yes. There you go. I haven't actually heard about her in a while. I honestly, I don't know anything. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. He's laying on his bed, presenting himself with his arm up like this, laying, down.
Come in.
Come in, and I come into the room, and I immediately it was like instantaneous. I just closed the door and I said, "Okay," and I had to leave.
So the fact that he knows he's naked, laying on his bed, not decent, and then he invites you in. Like what?
Exactly, and
Wait. When he says come in, did he say come in or come in?
oh, yeah, but
What? I mean, I wasn't there, so
I can't answer
it's
that.
on you.
I don't think I can answer that accurately. That's a fair. I mean, he could have been telling me that he was currently coming, or he was saying come in. So in his fairness, that could be one time where I made a mistake and I walked in on cicada bland shit.
No, I think it was.
Who's blowing up?
Well,
my
I think
phone?
when someone says "come in," I mean you can enter. So it's like the
Oh,
fact
dude,
that he was still naked, still laying there like.
Yeah, no matter. Look, I know Simon's making a joke, obviously, but like no matter you play it, he was naked, presenting himself with everything hanging, and by well, yeah, I mean it was like we don't need to get into the physical details, but or lack thereof. We'll put it that way. I'm just saying. Guess who's blowing up my phone right now? Someone who he really wants to be on the podcast. It's Mo from our store. I'm just gonna say we are live right now. Let's oh, he's super. So I tried to get you into it, and I guess you may not have liked it as much as I thought you would have, but I gave him a list of TV shows, as I do to everyone who needs a TV show. And he really got hooked on Servant. So, I got you into Evil, but I was like, you might like Servant, but it's a little darker. No comedy, really. I mean, there's like dark comedy here and there, but not like Evil. But he already blew through the Winchesters. He blew through. So I gave him this list, and he's blowing through the shows as fast as I do. I've never seen that before. Like I binge watch TV shows.
Well,
That's my life.
He's probably watching them at work.
Well, of course he is, but he's impressive, dude. He's got me like I kind of want to look. Everything in life is a competition, and I feel like I need to beat that guy. I need to be better at watching TV shows.
I think Evil was 3 seasons.
Yeah,
And
so far.
you're done with Evil already? And I watched it within like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was super fucking fast. I mean, I know it was only like 13 or 12 episodes, something like that. It was shorter, obviously.
But I watched.
But you were just like done.
I was like season 1. I was done with the first 2 days.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull something up actually. No, keep talking.
Season 1 was done like the first 2 days, and then season 2 took a little longer, and then like by week 2, I was already like halfway done with season 3.
So, Mr. Community Manager, I'm gonna pull up. You remember those ads that I used to run on our old first podcast back in the day?
I need to pee.
Simon?
Yeah.
So don't fuck with anything. Stop. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, you can go to me. That's fine. So, like I said, I deleted all of my everything from my previous life, but there are certain things that I could not stop touching my buttons.
I'm trying to change your camera.
I already changed my camera.
Yeah, it's a bet.
No, you did that. You can't. You think I can't tell when I can see my face right there? All right. So, you remember on our first pod, it was actually I really wanted to keep this name for this podcast, but again, I had to let go of everything. Uh, what was it? Exceptional anecdote, my sibling, meaning cool story, bro. Literally just a fancy way of saying cool story, bro. And it was the same concept, but younger people, you know, we were much younger and God, we were in our 20s. Fuck. Wow. But we used to make, do you remember those fake ads that we used to make? Why is it not letting me go to fucking YouTube? No, don't play a video. Don't you. See, now I feel good. It's going to try to play this video. I got to make it stop. Here, I'll do this. There. Yeah. Suck on that. Now you can't hear it. All right. So once this is done loading, I want to pull up. Really, it just wants to take its sweet ass time. What are you doing? Oh, okay. Oh, I said I'm grabbing water. I didn't actually say it, but I'm doing it. All right, it's finally loaded. I did save these ads and I wanted to play them. Your intention is to get water.
What are you streaming to? Because it's like almost 1 o'clock here.
We've been on for an hour 41, probably 20 more minutes, something like that. I mean, we're pretty much wrapped up, and then I'll jump back to fishing. But, God, it's taken forever. Anyway, I mean, do you have anything you want to add about tonight? Here, you're up to the fucking microphone. He's out
bro.
getting... Yeah.
It's like coming up to 1 a.m. for me, so all I want to do is sleep.
Oh. All right, let's switch accounts. I'm just going to play some things, and then I'll let you go. I think I could relieve you. You can go to bed.
Yeah, remember, you can just use your key bindings. 1 for you, 2 for Ben, 3 for room, 4 for
Poof,
monitor.
poof, 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 poof.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, sounds good. Sleep well, and thank you very much for your help.
No worries. And what I'll do is, tomorrow, when I finish work, I'm going to set you a default thumbnail for your watching streams.
Yeah, that one, sure.
Yeah, I've got an idea of how I want it to look, so I'll let you know tomorrow.
I like it. Sounds good. And I'll make sure I send you the payment, in that cake that we talked about. I'll hide it in the cake. Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
All right.
Just make sure the condom's cleaned.
I can't make any promises, but I'll do my best.
Well, I'm going to head off to bed, buddy. You have a good last bit of your stream.
Sure. Thank you very much.
And make sure you check the stream back, because my camera change was on point with people talking.
Camera changes. What do you mean? Say that again?
Like when each person was talking, like changing the camera over to you and Ben.
Each person.
Had that on point. So like when you were talking and then when Ben talked, I changed it straight
Oh
up.
no, I caught you on that one for sure, for sure. Yeah, I know. I was actually pretty impressed by that. Like I got to sit back and be like, okay, I'm comfortable with this.
That's the whole point of how I'm supposed to do it. And then when we get the quick assist running again, I'll be able to do everything else.
Yep.
Just because that's not running, I can't control your second monitor.
All right, sounds good. All right, man. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right, take it easy.
All right, bye. I gotta learn how to end this call. Oh, nope. There we go. He did it for me. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to actually end the show. I mean, we pretty much covered a lot. I mean, do you have anything else as far as spirituality goes? Because I'm gonna pull up some things that I had that we used to make on our old podcast, and I think I showed it to you once a few years ago, but I wanted people online to see it. Anyway, but back to the topic at hand. Yeah, your mic's off, by the way.
Um, honestly, I would just say that, if you're interested in pursuing it, it's something that does take time, that does take practice, and really all you need to do is actually what I would do is simply start where you look up videos on meditation, just basic, basic forms, basic mantras, and go from there. But what I personally do is every night I listen to certain tones or binaural beats, which what they're designed for is to basically regulate your brain and try to help you uh, put your mind into a certain state. So like there's certain ones for sleep, certain ones for meditation. There's for a lot of things. And so what I would suggest is maybe try out some of those with sleep, some that help with
Sorry, that's on me.
some that help with lucid dreaming, all that stuff, and just take a look into it and try it. Not everything's going to work. When I was trying different, because these videos are on YouTube, but I've been trying different videos, and some of them don't work at all. Some of them do. You just gotta find what works for you and go from there. But since I've started to kind of move my meditation time to when I sleep, because I play the right music, I've basically been able to train my body to do that sort of thing while I'm
Every time you exist.
while I'm sleeping, by listening to those tones and by breathing a certain way to help me relax, to help me to go to sleep. And then I sort of just kind of do my meditation while I'm sleeping, you know. And sometimes that can lead to lucid dreaming like I've done before, or that can lead to having some pretty interesting or vivid dreams, and then they end up happening, like you said has happened to you. But whether that's a byproduct of what I'm doing, I haven't really determined that. I've just noticed it's happened a few times, frequently. But yeah, I would try that, and if you like it, go for it, and it can help you do a lot of things. And mainly what it's used for is subconscious programming, to kind of reprogram your subconscious mind so you're not really doing anything. You're not really, so that way you don't have to force yourself to do something. Because if you're doing something subconsciously, you're not really forcing yourself, to do it. So by changing your subconscious mind, you can change certain behaviors, certain things you're doing now, and change those, and it would make you better. And it's like you don't even realize, or maybe you do at least notice the change if it's something that's profound that you changed. But yeah, I would take a look at those videos. I would take a look at, just do your own research, and it doesn't have to be spirituality in particularly, but just try meditation, try centering yourself. Just really try to be positive. And I struggled with that when I was younger, so much so that I was hindering myself and my potential. And so you definitely don't want to do that. So if you do struggle with depression or any type of negativity in your life, I would try that. And for some people it works better than just taking the pill. And for some it's like, okay, it doesn't really work for me, fine, try something else. But really all I can say is put your intention out there, and more than likely you'll get what you want. It takes work, but it will happen.
Dude, I'm actually a little bit disappointed in myself. So I know I had to get rid of a lot of the stuff that I used to have just because it wasn't who I was. But some of the creative projects that we dealt with, I thought for sure I kept it even in private. I wonder if maybe I did that in private, but or like save the videos in private. But I can't here manage videos. I wonder if I can find them. we used to make parody commercials, and we'd put them inside of our podcasts. So like we could go take a break after doing half a podcast, play a fake ad,
Okay.
come back, and and it was so well made.
Well,
Like we did it. It was so good. I gotta find a. I'm gonna have to.
I'd say if you couldn't find them, we could definitely do it a different day.
Well, so what it took though is we brought in what do you call it? We brought in a shit ton of gamers and groups, like the group of people we were gaming with, and we had lines from to. So me and Chris would take turns writing the script, the commercial, and then we'd add music and sounds in the background, and it could be for a really shitty used car dealership, or it could be a horror movie, or some other ones. I mean, dude, it was just so well done, and I'll have to. I'm sure. I hope he still has some of them in existence. But once I do get, I don't know. I mean, if this really blows up eventually, I have no problem going back to the editing side of things, and we don't have to do this live. We can go back to. I can go back to. We pre-record it, and then I'll edit it, and we can do whatever the hell we want with it. But yeah. So anyway, I mean, do you have anything else that you want to wrap it up? Thought Bubble Podcast with us at gmail.com, Mr. Producer Muscle Man.
Sure. I'd say if you want to get big, you got to eat big.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, really just watch your nutrition, and then you don't need steroids. But I would say, I'd say what really helped me was spirituality, because the body I have now, I've dreamed of for so long, and I put hard work into it even before I started becoming very serious with it and taking it. And that's like my main priority now, is just my body. And so since I'm done with all the extra bullshit that prevented me from supposed to be building muscle very easily, now I can. I'm no longer dealing with a disease that's destroying my body, that is just bad for you.
Maldiagnosed.
Right. And so it's just like, I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep focusing on my goals. And it's really changed this past month even. I've noticed a huge difference within a month. I've never had changes like this when I was younger. So it's definitely exciting. I'm excited for the summer. Just to be right back on track with life. That's really all I'm looking forward to. And when summertime,
I want to keep my track.
Right.
You know
But
what I mean?
like when
I'm always scared it's gonna end. I don't know.
When summer hits, it's gonna be, my days off are gonna be on my bike.
I don't think my life's
I'm
gonna. I think my good luck streak's just gonna.
I'm gonna be able to do what I want, go on joyrides,
Yeah.
Ride around town, do what I love, and I can't wait. And it's right around the corner, and it's like, yes.
But is it really though? We're still getting snow in the
Right.
end of March.
Right, that's true. Which, I mean, is kind of normal here in Indiana, I've learned. Like, it really doesn't get warm till May. Because school gets out at the very end of May. So like April, May, it'll get warm.
For sure,
Yeah. And then you're on your way to the summer months, which every summer has been getting shorter for kids here. And I think I know what they're,
their breaks.
Like there's summer breaks. So eventually what they're going to do is I think they're going to slowly ease these kids off going to summer. And there's going to be no summer. It's going to be a full year long school. You'll get longer breaks in between, but you won't really have a summer break. Because it's been getting shorter every year. Because like when I went to school, I didn't have to go back to school when I was younger till like middle of August. Now it's the beginning of August. Soon it's going to be the end of June. Like they're slowly cutting back summertime for school. Like they'll have longer spring breaks.
I have no idea.
Like
I
you'll
don't understand the state still. I've been
Right.
here for 5 years.
like they'll have longer winter breaks, and they'll have a longer winter break, a longer spring break, and then I think they'll have like a short summer break if they have summer break. But like, but anyway, this is the Thought Bubble podcast with us
At
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com. Blast it till you relax it and eat big to get big. This is the producer,